We did this guy years ago. Nope, I'm wrong. The colors are different. Hello everybody, Sparkster1701 here. We're taking a look at another studio figure this month. We've got another one from the 86 series. This is Cliffjumper. Now, I've had Cliffjumper for a good while now, due to the fact that this toy was released not long after the Earthrise version of Cliffjumper was released, because basically it's the same toy. Hasbro just decided, in their infinite cheapness, to just repaint him so that he matched more to his appearance in the cartoon. And then they had an easy way to get that one onto the market. And well, while we've commented and criticized Hasbro for their cheapness for a lot of the time, this probably wasn't a bad idea. The only real downside is just the fact that since it came out about the same time as the more general retail release, it kind of comes off as one that should have been probably held off on for a while, so that the two toys weren't competing. But of course, as you saw, this one came in the yellow Bumblebee, Buzzworthy Bumblebee set, so that meant he was an exclusive to Target stores predominantly. Oh well, what can we say? At any rate, let's move Cliffjumper aside here. And you'll see his backdrop is to depict Moonbase 1 from the 1986 animated film, where he and Jazz spent a fair amount of their time. It's a nice little backdrop. And since we didn't have too many shots of Moonbase 1, this is definitely one for the books. If only I had Jazz with me to put that on there, but we can't have everything, can we? But at any rate, as we said earlier, due to the fact of him being the Earthrise toy, he more or less has the same flaws, and that applies mainly to his weapons. His gun itself breaks down into 5 pieces. There's this gun here, this little short one. And of course the ammo magazine pops out. It has some detail coming out the one side. Do bear that in mind as we take the other one apart. As you can see, here's the other one, and it's got it on the opposite side. And of course we have another blue gun that has just 2 holes in it. And then we have this other piece. It's done up in black with chrome blue highlights. And it basically, it opens up and expands. That's more used for a bonus thing for it. Like you saw, if any of you saw it in the Earthrise video, the gun can be reassembled. And it has a lot of ways it can be displayed. Like for starters, we take this end here, and the gun, the one that has 2 holes in it. Plug it in here into the back. And then apparently we can rest it on his shoulder. That's supposed to be upside down, so that way this little bar will connect on his shoulder. And there we go. That doesn't look too bad. It's not the best, but hey, we can't argue with it. Another thing we can do is separate them. Attach this piece onto the side of his shoulder. Like that. And then you attach the magazines into the guns. And then he can go around with dual wielding guns. That's also not a bad look. Kind of goes well with Cliffjumper. And then there's one more look. We take everything apart. And then we reassemble the gun. Plug that in there. Plug this in here. And then we attach them pieces here to the front, so it kind of gives the gun a bipod. And then we mount this in on Cliffjumper's hand, and lo and behold, he's got a bazooka. But of course, he also has another removable accessory in the form of the back hatch of the car. And that can be inserted into his hands, and he has a shield to go with it. That's a rather nice look. Get all this off of him. And then we'll take a look at Cliffjumper's articulation. Since he was basically an Earthrise toy, he has the same articulation. The head can turn from side to side. It isn't on a ball joint, so it will not go up and down. His arms will raise up about so far. And you can rotate them at the shoulder all the way around. You can bend his arm at the elbow 90 degrees, and he does have a swivel at the bicep. So he features G.I. Joe style battle grip. He can twist at the hips. So means Cliffjumper has some dance moves. Probably comes in handy when you're stationed with jazz. You can spread his legs apart into a full splits. He does have a very minor thigh cut. You can raise his leg up at the hip 90 degrees, and you can bend him at the knee 90 degrees. So all in all, pretty standard for a studio transformer. Alright, to transform Cliffjumper, make sure he has all the accessories off, and that includes the piece from the car. Then we'll come up here and we'll lower the chest piece here so that we can fold out this red piece and then close that back up. Take his arms and bend them at the elbow backwards, and then rotate them so his fists are pointing upward. Once you've done that, then you should be able to lower the shoulders like so. And once we've done that, we're going to turn him around at the hips. And then bend him at the hip so that his chest is now forming the top of the car. Fold this section with his arms towards the back. They should lock into place once they have. There we go. Well, it's trying to. Once we got it in place, then we just bend them forward to help hold it in place. Come down here to the back of his feet, and we're going to fold out this section here. Then fold it up at the ankle so that it helps form the front end of the car. Then fold the wheels out to the sides. Then finish bending everything over. Attach the legs here at the front. And then the extra panels help form the doors to the car. Then we can take the extra bit, fold the black piece up. I mean, they put a cavity in there for it, but I recommend trying not to fold it all the way in there. If it gets folded all the way in there, it tends to be a pain in the butt to get it out. So try not to do that, and then you can connect it to him by, it's going to fold it inwards anyways, so oh well. It's got two long posts. They should go into his fists, and then it helps form the rear of the car. And then there you have it. Cliffjumper is in his alternate mode, a stylized version of a Porsche 928, which is what his G1 form was intended to be. Now the instructions give a couple of other options for his gun, starting with the bazooka. We remove the bipod, and then instead attach it from the side to the gun in the middle, and then rotate this front one to the side, and then you can plug it into the top, and then it kind of looks like that Cliffjumper's got a bazooka mounted on the top of the car, which does look kind of stupid. But then we have one other option to do it. We gotta take the whole thing apart. You take this piece, as I said earlier, it opens up. You're gonna open it up, turn Cliffjumper over. You'll then mount it in here so that the post connects here into the midsection. And there's a couple of small ones that'll connect right here to the posts that he's holding on to from the rear of the car. Just work it in a bit. There we go. Then you're going to take the ammo bits and slide their side pieces in here in the grooves by the front wheels. And then the guns have their own means of connecting on here. I'm trying to figure out how they want us to do this. Kind of helps if you look at the right gun. Alright, I see it. I want you to mount it in such a way that the thing connects to these holes that are on the sides. It's on the side of one. I don't see one. Ah, there it is. It's in the hand grip of the other. So that's how they want it. They want it to connect to the hand grips. That's better. That makes more sense. There we go. And then now Cliffjumper is got skis. Kind of almost brings to mind that Aston Martin that Timothy Dalton drove in The Living Daylights, since it had some outrigger skis so it could drive on the ice. But then again, within a few minutes after we saw that feature, the car blew up, so guess that really didn't do too much, but it was a nice sequence to see. At any rate, what do I think of this toy? I do like the fact that we were given a screen-accurate Cliffjumper. My only real gripe is the fact that they just copped out and went with the Earthrise design. Which, in itself, it wasn't a bad design. It wasn't a bad toy. It just seems like a cop-out for them to do that, especially when it came out not long after the Earthrise toy did come out. So it kind of put a making Cliffjumper kind of compete with himself on the shelves. I think this version could have waited a few months. Probably should have released it when Kingdom was more prominent. That way anybody that missed the chance to get Cliffjumper in the Earthrise line would have been more eager to pick this one up. But all in all, regardless of which version you have, either one of them would serve well as being the one to stand next to Studio Series Jazz, and would look right next to him. At any rate, that's my review of the studio version of Cliffjumper from Transformers the movie. I hope you all enjoyed it. Please do remember that if you like the content we feature on this channel, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. This is Sparkster1701 saying I will catch you all later.